We're about to embark on our first true voyage on our sailboat in almost 3 years. After spending 2.5 years rebuilding this boat on land, she's seaworthy and ready to carry us on some amazing adventures. But our maiden sail, which we hoped would be a relaxing test for our systems before venturing away from civilization, turned into a journey that was anything but relaxing.
Another big wave, and we're in the trough. Woo! Woo-hoo! Whoa! Yeah, that was a steep one.
I'm Taryn, this is Logan, this is Max, and this is our beautiful boat. And our goal for this summer is to venture from our home port of Nanaimo, BC to the incredibly beautiful Broughton Archipelago at the northern end of Vancouver Island. And in particular, back to our favorite place, Mackenzie Sound. Once we're there, we can relax in nature, fish, forage, and preserve some of our favorite foods, and finally get back to living the life we want to live. But in between us and the Broughtons are big winds, dangerous currents, and the frustrations that come with an unfinished boat. Join us to find out if we reach our goal, or if this boat proves to be even more trouble than it's already been. Well folks, today is the day. After changing plans a million times as one does when they live on a boat, we are finally leaving this morning. So the original plan this summer was to leave a month ago, 4 weeks ago today, and things got in the way, like projects and life changes and whatever. Then we were going to leave Thursday and ended up spending 4 days getting even more stuff ready. And then we were going to leave yesterday, but instead Logan spent the entire day rebuilding winches, which of course we need for sailing, so it's important that we've got those. So the plan today is to leave Nanaimo, Seisichin, the island that we're at, and travel all the way across the Salish Sea to Pender Harbor, where we're going to stay for probably a couple of days before starting to hopefully head north. We're leaving in the same direction as May and Marty, who you guys know from our other videos. And the hope is that if we travel around the same time as them to the same place, then at least if we have issues on this boat, we have a buddy boat close by. Because obviously we haven't tested any of our systems. We rebuilt this boat, we put everything back together, and we haven't tested anything. So this is our maiden voyage to figure out what's working, what isn't. It should be pretty low stakes today because the water is dead calm right now and the wind isn't supposed to get above 20 knots today. But it's still pretty nerve-wracking because it's a boat and things just naturally go wrong when you're on a boat. With working instruments and functioning winches, we headed out of Mark Bay. Things started out calm as we headed towards the Salish Sea, and we didn't waste any time getting our sails up, feeling confident about what was to come. But within about half an hour of being out there, the wind started to pick up even more than predicted, and it wasn't long before we were looking at 20 knots and steep waves with short wave periods. As we watched the seas build, our anxieties built with it.
Holy!
The winches had only been put back together the day before, the sails had only gone up a week ago, and testing them and the rest of the equipment in big seas and decent winds wasn't exactly the ideal scenario. If something went wrong under these conditions, we were looking at a very uncomfortable and potentially very dangerous situation on a boat that we had just dedicated 3 years of our lives to rebuilding.
Just thinking, like, it's so cool to see all of our hard work actually pay off. And like, we're doing exactly what I've been dreaming about for so long. And we're out here on a day where there's like 2 other boats around crossing the strait in pretty good weather. Like, this is not chill, and it feels amazing. We're doing the thing.
Woo!
We're actually doing it.
Max is not as convinced, but he's doing pretty good too, aren't you? Yeah. He's a little shaky. Here you go.
We're cruising along.
Killing
doing
it.
Like consistently 7 knots. The wind is like
Actually consistent.
consistent. Yeah, this is Fantastic.
Woo!
And then we get hit by a big wave.
I didn't do a ton of filming because, quite honestly, we were up and down enough that every time I looked at a screen, I started to feel ill. But for most of this sail, we had 2 reefs in the main and 2 reefs in our head sail. With this combo, the boat felt very well balanced with minimal weather helm.
Another big wave. And right across.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that was a steep one.
Our track was going to send us around the south end of Texada Island, which is notorious for uncomfortable seas. The waves and wind, which have miles to build up through the Salish Sea, meet land at the south end of Texada, bouncing back and causing big, often confused seas that can make being on a boat extremely uncomfortable. But as soon as we were past Texada, the seas flattened out, and all the stress that had been on us as we made our way across the sea was quickly replaced with pride in what we had just accomplished, a successful sail for the first time in almost 3 years. It feels like we've accomplished something huge by crossing the strait today, because that was a lot more weather than we were comfortable with. I mean, like, before we took the boat out of the water, that was more weather than we were comfortable with. And this is our first sail on this boat since we got it back in the water. So I am feeling extremely proud of us. We worked really well as a team. We're obviously not anchored yet, but we are by far out of the worst of it. The sea state has calmed down a ton. We're going a bit slower.
What were we up to for speed?
I saw 8.9 as our top speed. So that's pretty nuts. We were averaging between like 7 and 8 for a good period of time there. And yeah, I mean, I just feel, like we've accomplished something huge today, and it feels really good.
I think Max would agree.
Yeah.
Hey Max? Are you sleeping? Yeah, we only had one issue really out there, and it was my fault, but we handled it really well. In the worst conditions that we've seen today, we tried to furl in some more Genoa, and it caught the spinnaker halyard, the external one, and wrapped it up, and it jammed. So it got really exciting for a few minutes, but we worked it out really well, and I went forward and checked it out, saw what the issue was, and we fixed it. We just had to let the sail out a bit more and overpower us and go downwind a little bit more, and then untangle it, tie off the spinnaker halyard, and then pull it all back in and actually reef the Genoa properly then. And it's been really good ever since, but I have absolutely zero complaints about the performance of the boat. This has been amazing. And just, yeah, unreal, speechless.
So the last big thing we have to try to do today is lower the anchor for the first time with our improperly created chain locker door, which means that we haven't cut it in half like we need to. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. That's it! We're anchored. We made it across the strait. That's so exciting. And with only one minor problem in the whole adventure, so it looks like we've done good. We put things together properly. That's amazing. Oh, it feels fantastic. Yeah, guess that's it. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining us and for being part of this. This is a huge moment for us, and we really appreciate you being here and watching along, especially if you've been watching through the entire rebuild process, because you know what a giant pain in the butt it was, and man does it feel good to finally be reaping the benefits. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week, hopefully exploring somewhere super cool like this and adventuring. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. And if you want to see more of Pender Harbor's beautiful nature, we have a Patreon-only side quest video available for our $10 plus members. Next week we set out sailing again on our way to a gorgeous island as we continue on our way to the Broughton Archipelago. We'll see you then.